Hi, I'm Tim Ellis. Thanks for joining us for Laneway Live. Well, as the Melbourne Magic Festival has officially disappeared for 2020, we're taking this time to chat with our international guests who, fingers crossed, will be able to join us in 2021. This means we have so much more time to look forward to their appearances. And tonight, our guest is a one-man magic industry. Please welcome Shawn Farquhar.
Hey, how are you, Tim?
I'm doing well. Are you sitting in front of a bookcase there? Where are you?
I'm at home in little Maple Ridge, British Columbia, cultural mecca of North America, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And I built that bookcase. It's cherry wood, and it only took me 3 years to hand build that. I milled every piece of wood and then slowly starting to stack my books.
In your free time?
Yeah, I have some of that now. I'm actually building 2 more bookcases to go onto the front door of the office so that there'll be a hidden bookcase. This also has a door that hides something, but there'll be 2 more bookcases to open up to come into my office so that it'll all just be my little book room.
Well, anyone who follows you on Facebook knows you don't really normally have any free time at all. You spend more time in airports than anywhere else.
Yeah, if you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they all just say the same thing. I live in airports, hotels, and cruise ships. It's pretty much what I've been doing for the last 33 years. But about 6 months ago, I changed that and opened a little theater. And about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks now, that all changed again. Now I'm just sitting here working on new projects.
Your theater, I mean, I know there was Cabaret of Wonders and Hidden Wonders. Are they the same thing or different?
No, completely different. Cabaret of Wonders started as a little event above a Dairy Queen restaurant, and it seated about 15 people. And it went for a number of years until the person that owned the little theater couldn't afford it anymore. I mean, I bought his theater chairs to help him out, so I've got those all sitting in my garage. And finally, it just closed. And one of our patrons ended up being a guy by the name of Michael Cade, who is one of the greatest patrons for magic in the world. He runs the Chilliwack Cultural Center, a huge multi-million-dollar conference and convention center with theaters, and offered me an opportunity to move the show out there. So if you come to Cabaret of Wonders, it's about 150 people in a very cabaret setting. Nice stage, theatrical lighting. People sit at little round tables with little candles on them, all draped in red linen. And you get a stage or parlor style show. And then I wanted to do something more intimate when I left the cruise ships. So I rented a movie screening room in a very elegant Shangri-La Hotel in Vancouver. It seated 36 people in these beautiful leather movie chairs. I did it for 1 weekend, 4 shows, and they were sold out in days. And the hotel looked at me and said, "Hey, you did really well. We're going to charge you more money now." So I stopped and went looking for a place. They were charging me $1,600 a night. So for 2 nights, it's like $3,200. I found a place that I could rent for $2,500 a month. So I opened that up, and it was really great. A great location. The landlord, super nice. It's in historic old Chinatown in Vancouver, which is a place that all visitors should visit when they come to Vancouver. And it looks like it's an old Chinese tailor shop. So when you arrive, it's got Chinese lettering and the word tailor in the window. There's my old costumes and mannequins. But when you look at the Chinese lettering, it actually is just stylized to say the word fake, which is kind of cool. And then you go into a Chinese little shop. My helper, Billy Shui, he welcomes everybody. And then they go into the change room. And when they go into the change room, the curtain opens automatically. And all of a sudden, they're in my little 30-seat elegant little theater, all done in burgundies and black, and everything is more close-up parlor. The furthest row is 12 to 14 feet from me, where when I worked in the theater, the front row is 12 to 14. Even in cabaret, you're 12 to 14 feet away from me to the first person. And in this one, that's the size of my theater.
Well, we should take a quick look at some of the reactions of people experiencing Hidden Wonders.
Oh my God!
Appreciate it.
I just love the fellow towards the end. I had broken into his iPhone, and I think he didn't like the idea that I personally, opened the lock on his iPhone. And later, I put it into a balloon, of course, a great effect. And we videotaped it, and he posted on Instagram, and it got thousands and thousands of likes just because his reaction, not the trick itself, but his reaction to it. Yeah, that's the greatest thing about Hidden Wonders. Normally in an audience, I hear those things. You know that. You hear people go, oh, or wow, but you never see it. They're in the dark. They're 30, 60, 100 feet away from you. In Hidden Wonders, they're 14 feet. And the front row is my arm length away. And so when people go, oh, I can see it. It looks like this. It's really cool. And the reactions seem, because they're so close to each other and in this tight little group, one reaction just adds to another reaction, which adds to another reaction. I've got video footage of people jumping out of their seat, and the guy actually walking out going, no way, and just walking right out of the theater. And I'm like, way. It's like, it's crazy.
But for me, having my theater here, I know even in my city, it's sometimes hard to get people to come along to a magic show. How do you get sold out shows night after night after night?
I had no idea what the reaction would be in Vancouver, which is why I rented month by month in case it just didn't happen. I was super surprised at the reaction. I opened up to sold out crowds, and I give that to Penn and Teller because of my reputation. I haven't been on the show twice. Some people knew me, but I can't sustain by just reputation. I had to give them something special. And so I needed to do a hook. So my show was not just a show. My show is an experience. I call it the Hidden Wonders Speakeasy Magic Experience. From the moment they walk by it, maybe twice before realizing that they're at the location, and coming in and seeing a tailor shop, and then through the changing room and into the theater, they already have this experience, something different. And then in the room, I have an old curios cabinet and an old sewing table, which is going to act as my close-up table. And I have an old box sitting on it. And when I introduce myself to the audience, I explain kind of Wikipedia fast of my life, that I travel all over the place. I've been doing it forever. And then I explain that I don't want to do that anymore. And I explain that tonight it's going to be different than any other show because they're going to pick the show. I made the show a choose your own adventure. The audience selects everything that's going to take place and the order that's going to take place in. I know the opening and I have an idea on the closing. I have 2 closings and the audience will vote for them. But I do the opening, and then as soon as the opening number is done, I then start asking people in the audience to pick things from the curios cabinet or from the box, or challenge me with something that they have on them. And I do magic with that. So this gets it totally interactive, and it gets them talking about it. When they leave, they are my ambassadors. They are the hype, and they can come back again and see in a completely different show. And now they bring people with them. And they say, no, you got to pick the thing on the 3rd shelf because I saw that and it was awesome. And then other people will go and say, yeah, but the other thing looks cool too. And now maybe they see one thing the same, or they don't see anything the same. And now they want to come back going, and I got smart and started changing things on the shelves and making each shelf kind of thematic without them knowing. One shelf is all kind of danger things. One's all mind reading. One is all comedy. But I tell them they can have one thing per shelf. And once they've selected something from that shelf, everything else on that shelf is dead to us for the night. So it doesn't become an all comedy show. It becomes an all scary things type of show. It becomes a very textured show, but the texture is by them. And this has made it really fun. And then to empower them to be my ambassadors, when they leave, I give them a secret code that they can use to get a discount so that they can come back and see the show again and not pay the full price, and that they can share it with some friends. And I could easily say 30, 35% are people coming back for a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th time now. And we have one girl, Jessie, she's been back 4 times. The last time she brought 13 people with her. I had one guy, he bought out the room. He came twice, saw the show twice. He said, I didn't believe you when you said it was going to be a different show. And there was only 2 things that were the same. And they even felt different because of the people in it. And I'm like, yeah. He said, so can I just like buy the show? I'm like, what do you mean buy the show? He says, like for a night, I want to bring 30 friends. I'm like, oh yeah, you can do that. He goes, awesome. They arrived. I had a guy come, we had several buyouts. A guy came with 3 white limousines. Now, I'm not in the best neighborhood, not the best neighborhood at all. These 3 white limousines pulled up, all these people, fancy dress, all came in. And the limo driver says to Billy, he says, where should I park the cars? And Billy goes, not in this neighborhood.
That's fantastic. How long's the show?
It's 75 minutes. I
Yeah.
originally thought it would be a 90-minute show. And I'm not that egotistical to think that I can actually control 90 minutes. I know a lot of people are powerful performers and can. And maybe I could, but I would rather them really wanting more. So I advertise it as a 75-minute show, and I usually go maybe 80 minutes, depending on the reaction of people. But I definitely give them 75 minutes. And I want them leaving going, I want to come back. I want to see more. We didn't get to several shelves, or we didn't get to anything in the box, or only one thing off the person. And it gives them that desire to come back and see it again. And then I meet everybody at the end. And this is a great publicity thing. I didn't have a budget for publicity, none whatsoever. I spent don't quote me, it's like less than $200, like $126, $130, something like that, on Facebook advertising. And the only reason was I was clicking buttons trying to figure out how it worked. And I guess I activated it. And it took a while to figure out how to unactivate it. That's how I spent my money.
That's how Facebook make their fortune.
Yeah, from people like me, Luddites, going, I have no idea what I did, but I screwed up.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. The greatest thing I did was mobilize your fan base, the people that come to see the show. A lot of them came having no idea what they were going to get, and they leave there trying to explain what they saw. And I put a step and repeat. And I took pictures, and I got good lighting for it, because I found the first couple of weeks people weren't taking pictures or posting them after they took the pictures because they looked dark or ghoulish, and they just didn't like it. So I bought a really nice light, the LED that warmed and made us look tanned, and I put it in. And then I asked them if they would hashtag it with my hashtag, and that I would go look for them because I wanted to see them. And what I did was, when I found them, I printed them in black and white, because everybody looks good in black and white. And I bought these cheap little gold frames, and I started putting them in up in this and everywhere, and covering a wall with them. Wow. And when they came back, they freaked out that they saw their picture was on the wall in my theater. And then they wanted another picture on the wall, and then another one, and then group pictures. And I have some cool ideas. We took the panoramic style picture that you take with the smartphone, and Billy will take the picture of the group. And I start on one side and run behind him and end up on the other end. So I'm on both ends of the panoramic pictures, and we post those ones. And people just, oh, I got to post that picture. That's just genius. And yeah, it was really great, because these are honest people giving honest reviews, not your friends, just Joe Schmo. Took a long time to get onto things like Yelp and TripAdvisor. Yelp frightened me, and it still does. They hide the reviews unless you buy or advertise with them, and I don't want to do that. I want it to be honest and straightforward. TripAdvisor, on the other hand, I went from number 51 out of 51 shows in Vancouver, and it took 2 months, and all of a sudden I was the number 2 show. And I got all excited, and I was trying to figure out how to code in my website to tell everybody I was number 2. And when I went back to confirm it, I was number 1. I'm like, what? You have to understand, I wanted to be in the top 10. That was my goal, somewhere in the top 10. To be number 1, sitting there, I guess there's no competition at the moment, but to go from 51 to somewhere in the 10 would have been awesome for me. To become number 1 up against things like Bart on the Beach. It's an institution in Vancouver. Shakespeare on the Beach. Their budget for toilet paper is more than my entire theater in a year. Okay? So, and now with toilet paper, boy, I mean, they're going to have half. It freaked me out. Really freaked me out.
Here's the interesting thing. A lot of people, they look at Shawn Farquhar and go, he's just always trying to be number 1 in everything. He's trying, and it's not an ego thing. It's a passion thing. Because if I look at your accomplishments, I mean, you were first place at SAM. You were the first one in IBM to get stage and close up. You were Canadian Magician of the Year twice, 4F Guest of Honor in, I think, 2014. You also, of course, with FISM, because I was judging, so I know what happened there. You got second in close-up in 2003. You got second in close-up and parlor in 2006, and then first in cards and Grand Prix in 2009. And I mean, it's your passion, isn't it? It's your passion that drives you to do it. It's not going, I want to put more awards on my shelf.
None of it was Frigo. If you look around, you won't see any of the awards other than my Penn and Teller Fool list up at the top. You won't see them anywhere.
I didn't even mention that. I didn't even mention the Fool.
They're not meant to be ego gratifying. They're not. They're meant as a milestone. It's a way, a benchmark for me to continue. If I just sat and did a show, I would get, I'm a procrastinator. I could be president of the World Procrastination Association. I just haven't got around to forming the Procrastination Association. But I got the logo half done. I am a procrastinator. But give me a goal, give me a deadline, and I will meet it. And I will exceed it to the best of my abilities. And so when I did the World Championships, FISM, my first time, I was working on Norwegian Cruise Lines, and it was a dream for me. I had the dream job. My wife, my daughter, we all lived together. I only worked 1 day a week. I got paid. I got to see the world, the family 24/7. I got to see my friends, people like Greg Fruit and James Seelan. We just hung out, and it was crazy. But I went to the contest. I wanted to see where I stood in the world, and if my magic was as good, better, or worse. I figured if I was in the top 10, I'd be happy. And when I got a second prize against the guy who won the Grand Prix, I was like, "Ooh, that was a wake-up call." And to be honest, I hadn't practiced a lot. I just took stuff that I did. And so then 3 years later, I thought, let's try 2 categories and see how that works. Parlor then was in the stage category and the close-up. And then I got second in both of them. Freaked me out. And so I made a concentrated effort in 2009 to go back. But the only reason I went back for the next ones was because when I won a second prize, it made national news in Canada, and Norwegian Cruise Lines gave me a raise.
Wow.
It was a raise. They said, "Oh my God, our name, Norwegian Cruise Line, is all over the media in your country," and people were booking cruises and coming to see the show. So then when I did it in Stockholm, they were like, "If you want to go to Beijing, we might put some money towards you to go to Beijing." And I'm like, yes, because I was funding it all out of my pocket. It was like, okay, first time I slept in the attic of a house in Den Haag. And in Stockholm, I paid for a hotel room right at the hotel, but the hotel was nowhere near the city. So we were in the middle of nowhere. It was interesting. I'd done none of the things, not even Penn and Teller's Foolist did I do to see if I could fool them. In fact, I didn't care about fooling them. I've never done the show to fool them. I did the show the first time was just to go do the show. I wanted to hang out with Johnny Thompson. I wanted to talk to Johnson because he's one of my heroes. And then the second time I did it, I thought it was a great opportunity to hang out with Johnson again. And I loved the premise of the show, celebrating magic, because it's goofy, but it's not the reason I did it. Nothing I've ever done is, there are haters who will say, "Oh, they don't know me." I am the most insecure person you'll ever meet. I get all my validation from an audience, applauding and cheering and liking what I do. And I don't get anything from the trophies. They're cool. I put them in a box. My daughter put it best. We just came home from, we did China, and then I went to do shows that I already had booked in Japan after winning FISM, and then went home. And the news people were all waiting. "Hey, let's do an interview with you, and bring your family." There was my daughter. She was 8 years of age, and we were sitting having the interview, and they turned to Hannah and said, "Well, Hannah, what do you think your dad being a world champion?" And she said, "That was like 2 weeks ago."
That's what it's like in the world of magic. But I have to admit, like when I
Thumbs
got
it up for me.
when I got second in FISM, I came back very proud. Yay! Nobody wanted to talk to me in Australia. They're like, "So, I don't know. Well, you're a magician. What do you do?"
It's amazing. When the first time I went to Den Haag, I'm thinking, I've got the silver medal, the equivalent of the silver medal. They'll all be all over it. And I was on page 36 or something.
Yeah.
On the front page was Canada rowing team coming in 7th.
What?
So the second time, I was smart. I made press releases that said, "Canadian magician living up to the motto, go for the bronze." It's in how you promote yourself. All those things that I do. Yeah, saying things like 2-time world champion of magic. That isn't for me. That's for the press to attract attention. so that, or to attract clients. It's got nothing to do with who I am.
Yeah.
Or my
Otherwise,
magic.
otherwise just buy a Merlin Award.
Absolutely. Those are the people that confuse me, because it's got to be an ego thing, and then it's added onto it as the promotion. But there's so little promotion to the Merlin Award because it has no basis. If the media look at it and they go back one level, they go, oh, they just bought it. If you go back on a FISM, you go, look, there's a history. Oh my God, back to these incredible magicians, like Fred Capps, and Richard Ross and Garrett Copper. And you look at those guys and go, wow. And they go, wow, look at all these other generations of it.
And they can see the actual competition. They can see you had to stand there in front of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 other magicians and do your stuff.
With the Merlin Award, it's a picture of you writing a check. It's very nice.
But let's just get back to this stuff, because one of the things that you're doing at the moment, and you've been doing it for a while, this is way after FISM, it's become almost a meme, your own personal meme, and that's the Vanishing bottle.
Oh, do you like that?
How did that come about?
So I was in Budapest, Hungary, and I was waiting for a car to pick me up, and on the ground was a piece of litter, and I hadn't seen much litter anywhere in Budapest, and it was a bottle. I picked it up and I looked around for a garbage can. I didn't see one. Still waiting for my driver to come. I turned and there was a full wall of glass, so it looked like a mirror, and I held it there and I played with it for a minute, tried to figure out, and I came up with a method. I wasn't sure it was real because of, the reflection in black on glass. So I took the bottle, the trash, with me when the car arrived, and I went to the restaurant to meet the magicians. And at the restaurant, I said, hey, what does this look like? And I did it, and there was this gas from the other side of the table. I said, oh, so it looks good. And I said, would you take my phone and record it for me? I'll get another bottle. And I took it out and made it disappear. And I watched it and went, it looks real good. So I posted on the internet and thought that would be the end of it. And then a few days later, I was in Russia and ran into Boris Wilde. And Boris said, I saw the video with the bottle. Can you show me? And I went, sure. So I showed him how it worked. And then I said, let me videotape you doing it. And I videotaped him doing it. And a few days later, I was in Bulgaria with my friend Fritz. And Fritz goes, it's trick photography. I said, no, I'll show you how it works. And I taught him. And then to make sure, we put a TV behind him so that it was running all the time so they could see there was no cut or edit. And we did him. And he was like, this is really good. And I went to a lot of Vienna and did it with another magician. And then went, okay, that's one method. I wonder how many methods I can come up with. I came up with that method really quickly and I taught it. So it was now an exercise in creativity. And if you watch the series, I don't know how many, maybe 20, there's got to be at least 15. After the first 3 or 4, the first one that I do, then all the other ones that I do are all completely different methods. Every one of them was a different method that I concocted, created, videotaped. Some are workers that you can do anywhere in the world, and some were done just for the camera. Now, if you were a one-eyed guy planted in place, I could fool you. Otherwise, probably not. And some were really Rube Goldberg. I mean, with contraptions, retractables, and magnets. And every one of them, I challenge you to watch them if you got some free time to see all of them. And then they started generating. One ended up on ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Company. I got a check for $300. It played on, is it News 5 over there too?
Maybe New Zealand, probably.
So ABC is you guys.
Yeah.
What's the one Kerry Packard owns? I've
got no idea.
Well, the one that Kerry Packard owned, that was the one that came in second. There were 2 in Australia, and it was at the time young Alexander, before he was the president of the IBM, is on one side, and Henry Tom, my dentist, is on the other side. And I had a friend film it. It was after a Magic Club meeting, and it was like 1:30 in the morning with a Vanishing Corona bottle done slowly. It's really fun. And
we'll have a look at that right now.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Farquhar, International President of the International Brotherhood of Magicians, and with me is Alex Seaman, Henry Tom, both proud members of the IBM ring number 92, the Vancouver Magic Circle. Woohoo! And be my loyal president of the IBM ring number 92, Graham Gita, having some fun. We're going to use a little napkin this time. Normally, you've probably seen on the internet where I take the bottle, John, and I just vanish it instantly. That's my fast vanishing bottle routine. But I wanted to do it in slow motion.
slow motion is a completely different feeling. It's kind of an odd idea. The idea is basically that I'll come up like this, into this position, and you'll watch as I take the bottle and just basically crush it down into a little tiny bottle.
Oh my God.
That's way more fun. It's my job. Stay in school.
So that's pretty crazy. That's Alexander, our current president of the International Brotherhood of Magicians, when he looked younger. Well, he still looks young. That was an absolute blast. It led into so many different ones. I did one, I got hired to go to Sri Lanka to do a show, and sponsored by Sri Lankan Air. And so Sri Lanka paid me to film vanishing one of their wine bottles off their wine cart on the plane. So I vanished a bottle at 35,000 feet just for the fun of it. I did, and that led to getting another gig because a fellow saw it from South Africa who saw that and hired me to work for a Saudi prince on a private island off the coast of Madagascar. Just crazy stuff.
You live a charmed life. Oh, you've just frozen.
Wanted the vanishing bottle trick.
No, you just froze. You lived a charmed life and you froze.
Well, that's perfect. That Saudi prince included in the rider that I had to do the vanishing bottle trick. So I took the standard vanishing bottle that we all know and love in a paper bag, and I put it on a table with a bunch of other bottles, and they supplied me all the bottles. And I said, I need a beer bottle and a wine bottle, a vodka bottle, or tequila bottle, whatever you have. And then I took them off of each one of the bottles, so they were just the bottles. And then I put little numbers on the top of them. And I allowed the Saudi prince to select by selecting numbers down to one bottle. And so, some of the funniest ones are, I did a New Year's Eve party. I was pretty drunk and had no intention of doing the vanishing bottle trick. It had to be well into the morning. And one of my neighbors, my parties go for usually 2 days on New Year's Eve. They're fun. One of my neighbors said, do that vanishing bottle trick. And so I went and got the vanishing bottle we all know and love. And I did a video of it. And it's hilarious because there's a lot of controversy. It's one of these young guests walked behind me and everybody thinks that she stole the bottle. And so it became this big Reddit thing. And I actually photoshopped a picture of her. She had a cell phone in her hand, which they claimed to be the bottle. So I photoshopped it so it actually had the top of a bottle in her hand. And put it as a freeze frame, and everybody like, see. It was a lot of fun.
Look, we're going to have to wrap up, unfortunately. I could chat to you for hours, as you know, but I want to see not the vanishing bottle live, because I'd be pushing the envelope for. You're going to you don't do it. Don't kill me. You'll kill me if you do it.
Can you see this?
Don't do it.
Look, it's from the Magic Castle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. Am I in the frame?
Yeah. Oh,
really? Completely in the frame? Was that in the frame?
It was. We're going to show us something else.
What can I do for it? It's fun. This will be fun. Using just a single card. This is not my idea. This is an idea by a brilliant magician by the name of J.C. Wagner. J.C. was a bar magician who worked in San Diego, and he was a member of the 4F for years. I had the opportunity to befriend him. He showed me lots of cool things. This was published in a book. I believe it was called 7 Secrets. It uses a single card, which I tear. Now that looks like I really tore it. I mean, it does, doesn't it? And if I go like that, looks like it's torn in 2. I'll tear it again so that it's into 4 pieces. There, that's 4 pieces. Now I'm going to isolate one piece. If I put it down, you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'll just, I'll put it there. Stay. That's good. These 3 pieces, I just hold them in a little group. And if I go like that and massage them lightly, don't those look like they've gone together? And if I go like this, that's all the pieces going together. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What's this piece for? I'll show you. It fits perfectly. That's the receipt. So we know that that's where it fits. It fits like that. Look, if I go like this. Yeah, it's my job.
Well, we are so sad that we can't have you here in Melbourne this year.
My heart is broken. For years, we've been trying to make this work.
I know.
Finally, we were able to make it work, and the world said no.
Yeah, I think that's the entire reason the coronavirus was created.
It could be totally. It's like one of the 7 signs of the end of the world when Shawn gets booked for Melbourne's Magic Festival.
But fingers crossed we can get you over here next year and you can just blow us all away with your 150 different versions of the Vanishing bottle.
I'm looking forward to coming back. I love Australia. The people, they're the closest things to Canadians I've ever met.
Very close. Thanks so much for chatting with us. Bye-bye.
Bye, Tim.
Hi, I'm Shawn Farquhar, and I'm here in deepest, darkest Africa, South Africa, at Pinda Resort on a safari. And look, they gave me this and beyond wild, pure, sparkling water. And you know what I do when I get a bottle? I have some fun. Check this out. Watch closely. Oh, today we saw a black rhino. Yesterday, baby lion cubs eating a wildebeest. And now, 1, 2, 3. Did you see it go? It's like it completely disappeared. I have no idea how.